Hey!
Oh, there we are. Hi.
Hello! All right, so I'm actually Arcane. Nice to meet you.
It's lovely to meet you. I'm Kayleigh Calder, lead game producer. Really, really happy to be here. And it's a day of first for me because this is also the first time I've ever been on a stream as well.
Really?
So, yeah. So you are my first stream too. So it's really lovely to be here.
Well, welcome to stream. So just like I've got chat, it's kind of small and hard to read.
Oh, great. Yeah, I will squint. I apologize.
No,
I'm
it's
just
okay.
squinting at chat if anyone sees
And
that.
I'm also going to have it on here for you to
Oh,
see.
wonderful.
And then, so those friendship bracelets are for you. I heard you play Necromancer.
I do.
So
Definitely. I've been playing so much Necro this season. I
it
think
looks so good.
the night before we came up, I was like doing Blood Harvest for like 5 hours. And my other half was like, "Are you ever going to bed? Because like you got busy day." And I'm like, I just want to do one more, maybe get a few more items.
Yep.
Getting that Infinimus build kind of
On your way
optimized.
of it?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for these. They're lovely.
You're welcome. I know I got my first unique and I was told that it's very good for necromancers. I'm like, well, but it's good for me and I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it.
That's what you need.
Well, fantastic job on the Campfire Chat. I had no
Thank
idea
you.
that was your first time up on
It
that.
was.
How'd it feel?
I was pretty terrified the entire time. But like just getting into it and knowing I'm up there with my team, it was very easy to relax and the crowd were really nice. I mean, everyone at Blizzcon is always so nice. That's why I love the event. I love meeting everybody who plays Diablo or even just any Blizzard game because I've played Blizzard games nearly my whole life. So yeah, it's just really exciting.
So how long have you been at Blizzard?
15 years, just over 15 years. It was 15 years in June, actually. So
well, congratulations on the 15-year mark.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy aging myself a little bit, but yeah, it's been a long journey.
And so how long have you been working on Diablo specifically?
So I started working on Diablo. I was working on Diablo 3 at first, and I was a QA, actually. I started as a QA analyst, and I was working on live ops and online and Battle.net. So original Diablo 3 seasons were part of my testing, and that's kind of like I lived that whole life. And then I worked through Reaper of Souls. I became a test lead, and then I moved to production, and I became on Diablo 4.
All right, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Diablo 3 was my first experience with
Oh,
Diablo.
wonderful.
I started playing Blizzard games in 2020. Before that, I had just played like single-player games. I was not a PC gamer at all.
Oh, wow. Okay, so big jump for you.
Yes, and then, I was like desperate for some kind of community, as I think a lot of people were, and that's when I, branched out into World of Warcraft. And
Yep.
Yep.
I played a lot of WoW back in the day as well.
What did you main?
Druid, actually. I was very stereotypical Night Elf Druid. In Europe, though, Moonglade server back in the day.
Nice.
So had a lot of fun. Played a lot of WoW.
I think that's still the game that I spend just the most time in because I'm part of a raid team. And it's like, well, at least 6 hours of raid, and then plus like everything else in a week.
I did that in vanilla. I did all of that. I was at uni and I had a lot more free time. And I went hardcore into raiding in vanilla WoW. I went through Molten Core and Onyxia and Alfarage and Acropolis. Like did the whole thing. It was really, really. It's one of those really special memories, gaming memories, and I think that's why I love gaming. You build these community gaming memories, and
absolutely. I mean, my first raid was Nyalotha at the end of Battle for Azeroth. And, people have, like, mixed opinions on it, but it's like, but for me, it was my first raid. I was so wonderfully, like, introduced to the game, and I'll always have a special place.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like Diablo is for me as well, because it was my first, like, foray into this type of gameplay.
Yeah, Diablo, so I've played every Diablo game. I actually really love the original Diablo. It's just that very gritty, dark, like, I don't want to say simple, but this like environmental storytelling where you're learning about the world as you're going down into the depths of this cathedral and all this horror. Like, I absolutely love that. And then, D3 will always have a very special place in my heart. because it's one I worked on a long time as a dev, so, you know, with the team, so yeah. And then Diablo 4, which is even more special somehow.
It's been amazing.
I know.
I mean, I think, you know, I saw the Diablo 4 cinematic before I had played any Diablo game.
Oh, wow.
And it was enough for me to be like, okay, this is a game we are playing now. But
that cinematic just, it blew all of us away as well. And it was just, when we were talking about Diablo 4 and we saw that, we were like, yes, that's the tone, that's the vibe, guys. That just dark, twisted horror.
The music, the feel of it.
Our music team, it's
amazing.
Oh, I love them so much.
I mean, I play, you know, every game with sound on, but especially games where I'm running through the environments, the music that is specific to each zone and each activity, it adds so much to the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anytime we've got wonderful, like, ambiance music around the convention, but if the Lilith music plays, like,
oh my god,
get chills.
That piece is just
so good.
So good. When I'm getting ready for D&D, which I run for my friends, I'll have that on when I'm, like, prepping to play a villain for them or something. Absolutely love that shit.
It's very good, like, this is bad news, but it's enjoyable.
Yes, very, very much so.
Absolutely. And one of the things I really loved about Diablo 4 when I started to play in the beta was how gorgeous everything was in the most grotesque and interesting way. I felt so silly, like, walking up, like, look at the blood on this thing. Like,
no, that's exactly what we're hoping for. Like, yes. I've worked with a number of our teams that do environmental art and the art in the dungeons, and it's so funny because they'll do something and I'll look at it and be like, wow, guys, it's amazing. It's really beautiful. I want to go to them. They're like, oh, Kayleigh likes it. She's not freaked out or thinks it's gross, but guess we better go and make it worse. Like, add some more corpses, some more blood tendrils. But yeah, there is something, I describe it as like mournful about the game in a lot of its art. It's just this mix of grotesque but intensely beautiful, like, tableaus. And yeah, I always geek out for this stuff, so I apologize if I kind of like go on a little bit, but it's a lot of fun.
They know what to expect with me because I'm one of those people that will be in the middle of a dungeon. I'm like, let's go over here and look at this pretty thing. Like, will I die? Probably, but we're gonna go look.
We go look at this very cool thing. The team would absolutely love that. It would be the team would love hearing that, because that's why they put those little things in. They put a lot of effort, lots of little things in the backgrounds and off to the side.
So speaking of the viewpoints, there are a few of them, and I've tried to find them. Can we expect more? Because there are so many zones that I'm like, I want to just like look at this, and I can't zoom out the camera wide enough, or I want it to pan and different things like that. And I was so happy early in game and early in beta to like find all the different ones, and I was expecting to come across more of them just because each zone is so different. And so I would love to see more of that. Is it something we can expect, or kind of pivoting?
We're probably more pivoting, I'll be honest. We always want to present the game at its best and in its best angle, and we want to find ways to really give you the sense of scale, or the sense of kind of like the like, what's the word? Sorry. I'm running on adrenaline, everybody. Just like when we coming down during this, and I just reach the end and just collapse.
Get
like
some more water if you need to.
Yeah. It's just the overall like sense of scale and like gravity, and just like the epicness of the space. And we will look at the best way to present that in game. Thank you very much, chat. In game, that gives the best experience to you guys when you're playing, and isn't disorientating either. That like we have to be very particular with camera moves, because you don't want people who suffer with motion sickness to find their camera flipping around in ways they don't expect, especially as Diablo 4 is an isometric fixed camera game. And so we will adjust it where it makes sense to give players the view and that sense of scale, everything we want to capture, but we'll see what happens. I can't make any promises about more lookouts or anything.
That makes sense. I mean, for example, with the world boss with the zoom out, it makes sense because even with the zoom out, you can't even see some of the full robots.
They're just so big, and they're gonna smash you, and you're like, oh no, I'm out of the way. Oh no, I'm not. No, I'm very dead now.
It's like that clip in the opening with Amelia being rezzed and just immediately being smacked.
That has happened to me
so
more than once. Yes.
But it's fantastic. And, I think that sense of scale, you were talking about it a little bit in the context of the next expansion and just how vast this was. And it almost reminds me a little bit of the Hawazar region in what we have right now, but otherwise it's super duper different from like the rest of the art that we're seeing in the game. So what are some different like through lines of art elements that you're bringing to like continue that creepy Lilith demon feel in this gorgeous jungle with lots of pretty rivers?
Well, I mean, like everything we do is still going to be, just drenched, sometimes literally, in the blood of our enemies and the monsters and poor innocent townspeople as well. And it's, the jungle is a completely unique kind of like biome to explore. And, but it can be very foreboding and daunting when you think about like being at the base of these giant trees overhead with dark canopy, cutting out a lot of the light, leaving you in this almost like very rich, dark, but foreboding darkness in its own way, in the shadows. So there's a lots of ways we can approach it, and looking forward to, and like the scale as well. You saw in some of those concepts.
Like diving into the depths.
Yeah, like and running across these giant tree roots of just like ancient oldness, and seeing the jungle reabsorb nature, reabsorb the things that the buildings and structures that people have, abandoned, and then taking them back, taking it back to the jungle.
I'm so excited to explore more of it. I'm not, as excited as I am for more class changing and a new class. Part of me is just like, I don't care what I'm on. I just want to go like explore and look around and everything. What is probably your favorite region like in the live game? And we can go there, and so you can tell.
Oh no! I actually do straight up know it is Scots Glen. That for me is always been my favorite region when we started working on it, because it reminds me of home. Unsurprisingly, those of you who can't tell, yes, I am from the UK. I've been out here a long time though, so it gets muddied. But yeah, there's something about the oppressive rain and just the green.
As we load into the rain.
Yeah, it's literally raining.
Yeah.
I just really love the mix of kind of like cultures and inspirations that we had, both like historic and fantasy kind of thing. There's like some really cool beehive huts, which are kind of based on some like ancient Scottish ruins up in the north of Scotland.
I didn't know that. I love that.
Yeah, we're always looking like it's, as Brent was saying in the panel, we're looking for places to be inspired from, not directly lift from, because we're not experts in all those cultures and things, but looking for inspiration from the world around us. And Scotland is just a place that I just love the moody tone and, the variety of the different areas you end up in, and the blood moors, which is just horrific.
Absolutely. And speaking of, like not being expert, but you have a degree in archaeology, don't you?
I do. Yes, someone told you.
I wanted to be informed about what I was going to be talking about.
Yeah, it took kind of a sharp pivot when I left uni. I love history and archaeology. It's one of those things that I'll like just read up on in my own time. And I ended up in game development through a very different series of events, but it's I like it as well, because when we are doing like initial kind of ideas for zones or for regions and things, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm thinking of an archaeological site I read about once, and then I go away and there's some art director going, okay, thank you, Kayleigh, for the enthusiasm, and so I like present them a bunch of pictures of like ancient ruins, that I remember hearing about. So yeah,
but that's an incredible like addition to the team, and I think it's all those little details that make the world feel full.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the team, like, is full of people from a ton of different backgrounds and experiences,
It
and,
has
you know,
seemed like that.
across the country, too. In fact, we've got people, we've got people based out of California, we've got people in our office in Albany, we even have people who are working remotely from other areas in the world, and they all contribute their own unique experiences and look, and that's what I kind of love about our team in general. It's such a wealth of different voices and experiences.
And they're also kind. Like, I've gotten to meet a lot of really wonderful people.
Yeah, they'll be so glad to hear that as well, and everyone's been so excited.
Yeah.
Like, the Diablo community is just, we love them. We love everything about them, and love how vocal they are, and how much they tell us what they love, what they don't love. Like, and it's really exciting to share BlizzCon with everybody.
I know. I mean, this is my first BlizzCon.
This is your first BlizzCon.
This is my first BlizzCon.
Welcome to BlizzCon. I hope you've been
Thank
having
you.
a good time.
It
What
has
a one.
been incredibly busy, but in a very good way. And I'm like, I don't think I'm getting the typical BlizzCon experience by doing all of this, but I think I'm okay with that because I get to see so much more, and like I get to experience a lot of it in little pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might be a little spoiled for future BlizzCons.
I think I'm a little spoiled.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No, what a great. That's awesome. Oh, I didn't realize it was your first one.
It
Oh,
is.
so happy to have you here with us.
And I was gonna be here no matter what. I was worried about it, and then I had to like explain to my work. I'm like, I'm gonna be at a gaming convention. I'll see y'all later. That's great.
You know, I forget sometimes that the rest of the world doesn't doesn't stop for BlizzCon. Like,
Right?
I was talking to a friend, and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'll see you at the convention. And they're like, on Friday, and they're like, I'm at work. I'm like, oh right,
Oh,
yeah. Other people don't just go to a game convention for work. Silly me.
They should, honestly.
I mean, yeah, everyone should get the opportunity.
And that's one of the things that I love about gaming is even if people did not grow up gaming, don't play games as adults, it's amazing no matter who you are, where you are, that so many different people from so many different places can come together and enjoy something all at the same time and like find little niche things to love. I mean, I think that's been the most incredible thing about this BlizzCon experience is, I can show excitement that normally I'm just like geeking out about, and then I go back to work, but everyone else is also so excited.
Yes. That's honestly the thing. Someone was telling me a story about like their son, first time they went to a convention, and how they were just like, oh, I can just be myself here. I can just geek out about the things I love and what I want to do, and I don't have to hide any part of myself because these are my people. And that's what I love about this, like, whether your fandom is Diablo or WoW or Overwatch or something else entirely, like, it's really great, especially when you get to come to things like this, or even if it's an online community like a stream or a Discord, like, finding your people is just, it's kind of magical.
Absolutely is. And especially because of all of those different backgrounds and everything like that. So, one of the things that I really like about Diablo in particular is that the lore informs a lot of the gameplay, and everything can draw back to a really rich like database of both themes and characters and different things like that. So as you're thinking about, creating the characters that we're going to come back for Diablo 4, why Lilith? But, I'm very happy about Lilith, but like, can you talk a little bit about how you landed on this Lilith and Arius kind of centric?
Yeah.
Because I know some people were expecting, like, oh, it's just going to be Mephisto, then we're going to meet Diablo, then we're going to meet Baal,
Yeah, I mean, the choice for the villain to be Lilith, for us to face Lilith as a part of the story, was actually decided a long time ago, and we knew that right from the start. And the team was really, really invested in, just telling a different story. There is a ton of Diablo lore. And even I'll admit, some of them is quite dense to get through at times. And we have some amazing fans who know it inside and out, and amazing people on the team. And that's incredible and everything. And so we wanted to take a part that is a little less known, hasn't really been portrayed, and continue telling that story. What else is happening? And, we're moving on then, sorry, I'm going to step back a bit as well, because Lilith, because I love her, our Dark Mother, was really exciting as well to make as a character, because just wanted her to feel like she had motivations. Like, the team weren't really, really hard on getting her to feel like you may feel conflicted about your choices about fighting her. Like, that she's kind of making some good points, guys. Is kind of the vibe.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, that's why we would like really driving that, make her feel like a very rounded, motivated character, separate from everything you're doing. She's going to continue acting in the way she would. And, we're going to continue telling the story of hatred, because now we are going to continue, as you saw Tiffany talk about, following Norel, who has the stone with Mephisto, Granddaddy Fisto, name pending.
Yep.
And he's going to, we're gonna follow that story on, and we're gonna keep telling this tale, and we'll see what happens down the way. In terms of who to bring back in general with characters, it's really about what's best for the story we want to tell and what makes sense for the story we're telling. So we think about that a lot, and there are also opportunities to introduce new characters, and so Norel, she's young, she goes through a lot of trauma, she's a teen, which means she's impulsive. Like, it's a chance to introduce some very different characters and different people to meet to continue the legacy of Diablo.
Absolutely. I mean, right away with Norel, I was like, girl, I get it. But maybe turning to necromancy immediately when your mother passes is not necessarily...
We've all been a teenager. We've all been like 14, at one time. Who didn't think about necromancy to solve our problems?
Exactly. Honestly, if that was something to turn to, I get it. I do.
Yes.
I love that, absolutely. And I think that you beyond succeeded with that kind of conflict of the players being like, well, technically Lilith is the only person that does not want to see us generally eradicated. It's like, how do you fully stand against that, right?
Right.
So I know that one thing a lot of the community was really hoping for is that there would be a little bit of player choice to influence, kind of what we align ourselves to, because part of the great conflict of Sanctuary is like there is no one right answer, right? The dark and the light are so subjective in a lot of ways, because as we saw with Anarius and a lot of the means to end there, like there is no good. So is there any opportunity or future around introducing kind of player choice in storyline?
That's not something I really talk about. I know when we remembered like... So when we wanted to tell a very specific story, and we wanted to take everyone on a very specific journey through that story, and through the world, and to see, kind of as you kind of hit on it, like even when you feel like you're doing good, at times it don't turn out so good for whoever's involved with you. Usually walk away pretty unscathed, but everyone around you, not so much. Yeah, and so. There was definitely a story that we wanted to tell. We do listen, and we know there is a desire and everything, but that wasn't what Diablo 4 was going to be kind of about.
Absolutely, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I felt like it was still so new in my Diablo career. I was like, maybe this is something that has never existed. Maybe this is something that I have no idea.
No, it's a totally fair question. So don't worry about it. I'm really happy to,
And I mean, I think that's why I really enjoy playing all of the side quests and the storylines there too.
I love our side quests.
But they're so good. And I know that the Diablo community has such a strong, speed running and hardcore leveling community, and side quests are not going to be the most efficient way to gain experience, right? But there's so much work and so much wonderful story that like goes in and fleshes out the general lore. And so I'm hoping and assuming that we're going to see a lot more of that as well in the next expansion.
I can't say anything about anything, but we will have more content. Yes, it's very gentle theming in Diablo. Nothing terrible happens here ever to anyone.
No.
But yeah, our designers working on quests, side quests are a great opportunity to show more of the world, more of those stories that are happening, because it's not just like the big terrible thing happening with heaven and hell. There's people attempting to live in this world, and I'm amazed they keep going half the time, because it's all bad news every day, and we just have an opportunity to bring some of those, like the different cultures, the witches of Hawazar, to go a bit deeper into those things. I love them
gosh.
too.
I
like
really enjoy
it's
those.
like, oh, that's so cool, but also that's really messed up. You're going to be absorbed by the swamp, and like, so just plant seeds of other questions and really give the world like that depth, give it more life. And yeah, our designers are so talented and incredibly twisted people. I love them all, but I'm just going to say it straight up.
When you were talking about the winter event too with the skulls and everything, and I was like, that's a brilliant, weird, twisted idea. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back at a lot of like holiday, like midwinter holiday kind of like traditions in the world, a lot of them are quite dark when you really dig into it.
The antlers and the skulls, like
mhm.
that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
It was funny until you called out that like you specifically chose skulls because they were. I was like, oh, I didn't even question it.
Right.
I was just
It's
like, yeah, that
true.
makes sense.
It's true. Diablo fans are just like, yeah, okay,
Uh-huh.
that's
More
yeah,
skulls.
that seems pretty normal to me. You know, like
As
definitely.
one does.
That's what we love here. You know.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's so many different little details in a game that is, I don't know, the gameplay is so much quicker than I think the world even requires it to be, because there's so many little things that you can go and do. I almost want like backstories on each of the world bosses. I'm like, I don't know if that's what this is for, but
Yeah, I don't think I can tell you, but they are. Yeah, there are so many different avenues, and like maybe in the future we will tell more stories or give more information. There's a lot of little pieces of information you can find in the world, and that's because we have lots of different types of players. You know, Diablo 4 isn't just for one type of player that wants to play. There are people who they love the lore, they love the campaign, they love exploring, and there are things for them to do as much as, you know, digging into the depths of Nightmare Dungeons and the upcoming Abattoir of Zur, and like, you know, and it doesn't mean though that those activities are closed off either. Like, it's challenging, and if people want to attempt it, go for it. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, so we're really looking at ways that are gonna give lots of different types of players, and obviously with the expansion, we'll be continuing, as I said, that story. So there'll be more lore. They'll be revisiting nostalgic places, which I'm really hoping. I can't wait for people to see more of it next year. And then obviously, you know, for people that want that, we do have a brand new class. And no, I'm not going to give any hints about the class. I'm not giving anything. It is brand new class to Sanctuary. It's not a class that's ever been seen in a Diablo game up to this point.
So, you know, you talked a little bit on the panel about that very deliberate choice to bring a brand new class. Mm-hmm. So what kind of considerations went into picking the 5 classes that we already have?
Well, it's also about when you look at the classes, they all fulfill particular fantasies and particular kind of play styles, and you know, every change we make with them, the uniques we give them, the builds you can make, all of these things fulfill very specific kind of different types of fantasy around that class. Barbarians, you're going in there, you're hitting stuff hard, you're getting in the face with stuff, you know. Necromancers hanging back and throwing in your army, all going in, all guns blazing, hexing with scythes and things, you know. Mm-hmm. The classes, we knew we wanted to revisit these very like classic, like well-known kind of classes and bring a new Diablo 4 twist to them, revitalize them, and bring them to our players. So then, yeah, it was really about, for the expansion, it's like, well, we could do that again. We could look at something that already exists and give it, you know, polish it up and introduce some new ways to play and everything. Right. But instead, we wanted to pursue something brand new, bring something else, give people a different way to play, and that's what the new class is.
I love that so much. Thank you. I know it's such a like touchy topic because everybody wants to know as soon as possible.
We knew coming in when we teased it. We knew that was to be. We knew we were teasing the expansion. Yeah. We knew that's what was going to be. Yeah.
Oh, and actually, the word companion has reminded me. So you know, one of the things I love about Diablo 4 is that you can run through the world and you don't have to feel alone. You see other players, and you know, you get to team up with other players into different things. One thing that it's been a little bit sad is, you know, sometimes I think I leave gear on the ground and I leave gold on the ground. It's like, man, I wish I could have something to like help me out.
I see where this is going now. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. No,
I just figured I'd
mean,
say
it's a great suggestion. It's not the first time I've heard it. I have heard it even from people on the team.
That's good.
That's we are actively listening. If it's something that you and your chat and everyone, your community feel strongly about, like, get on our Twitter, put it up on the forums, let us know. We are listening.
Heard.
And we're looking at the changes we want to make in the game. Diablo 4 is a journey, it's not a destination.
Absolutely.
We will continue to adapt and change the game based on player feedback, based on the team's kind of feeling of where we want it to grow, the things we want to bring in to the game. And, if there is a very strong sentiment for this kind of thing from the player base, it could be something we investigate for the future, but I am making zero promises. There is nothing in the works that I can talk about that.
Understandable, completely. So speaking of like the different changes that you're making, one of the things, as somebody that plays Blizzard games, that it can really feel like you're almost talking into an echo chamber when you provide feedback, right?
Yeah.
Like you do a deep dive into a class you love, into an encounter you love, and then you put it out there and you're like, well, that's it. I felt that as an arcane mage in World of Warcraft. I felt that in a few different areas, but it's really been reassuring seeing how much change comes from community feedback, and then how quickly. I mean, the season cadence has been faster than anything I could have predicted.
The game hasn't even been out a full 6 months.
That's what I keep telling people.
It's we forget. Like, I've been sat down talking to people. I'm like, oh yeah, and when the game came out just over 5 months ago, I'm just like, oh right, yeah. A lot has happened. What is time? I don't know what time is anymore, to be honest.
I don't know. People have to keep reminding me actively that it's November now.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I'm going to be saying it's 2023, like into March next year. I'm pretty sure.
Same.
But I'm going to say something's going to sound a little sinister, but yeah, the Diablo team is always watching. No, we are looking.
Mother is watching. The team is watching.
Exactly. We're good disciples of our Dark Mother.
There you go. It's a directive.
No, we have an amazing community team, and it's. I think Brent said this a little bit. It's like when we were working on the game, even preparing season 1, which was all done before we'd even released, we're kind of just going on our best instinct and what we felt, what we wanted to deliver, the things we thought we would like to provide in the activities. I'm not saying Krampus is a red-cloaked horror, and he's tightly different. But
entirely different.
He is entirely different.
A red-cloaked Krampus.
He's a very sinister goat man. Sorry, I've been totally distracted by chat midstream.
No, that's okay.
It's my stream thought. But anyway, and so as soon as it went out, the game kind of isn't just ours anymore. It's also our communities and everything you guys think and feel and say about the game. Do those deep dive videos. Like, we look at that stuff. We're checking, our community team is always kind of looking at all the different places you guys can post. Catch members of the dev team browsing through Reddit, like, oh, what are they saying about the release that we just put out? All of that stuff is happening. And, we are working in lots of different, we have a number of different releases going on. We got seasons, we got the live game, we've got stuff going on with expansion. And it's all about making changes that make sense for the game at the right time. So we're trying to assess those changes, make choices that are going to be the best for the players, and then choosing the right time to deliver them. So if we feel something needs to come out quicker, we'll try and work to make that happen. And if it's something that's more delicate, like itemization changes, we're going to give that the time it needs so we feel we get it in a good place. And even then, we'll continue to make adjustments based on what players are feeling.
I love that so much. We're in a very blessed place with Diablo 4 that is the attitude. And I want to just thank you for dealing with all of the different everything right after the Campfire Chat. So.
No, I was really, really excited for this, and I just want to thank you and thank your chat and everyone for having me here today. So yeah.
So with the Campfire Chats, I'm still relatively new to the Diablo community, but kind of what was the impetus for that's how you want to present stuff instead of just patch notes? Because that's pretty unusual.
It's a little bit, but I also think that, you know, we want to be there with our fans. We want them to know that, like, we play the game too. We're not just faceless devs working behind the scenes and sending out, like, patch notes. And the patch notes are great when you want to dig into the nitty and gritty, but we also want you to kind of get to know us, and we want to be able to deliver information to you when we need to deliver it. And the Campfire Chats are a great avenue for that. They're a great way of us sharing and also being a little bit goofy, getting a lot of Rod Ferguson puns out into the world, for better or for worse.
Absolutely.
No judgment, but some judgment. No, it's just a really, they're just really fun for us to be able to get in there and just get more immediate, like, hey, we got this thing coming up, or they give us an opportunity to be a bit more flexible in communicating. And to us, you know, we've been trying to do it since we announced Diablo IV back in 2019, when we started doing dev blogs, and we kind of evolved that, and now we have these more regular cadence Campfire Chats.
I really like that live format, because it's one thing to read the words on the page and then get lost because you went back to check something, and it's another entire thing to actually hear it from somebody.
Yeah.
So, and thank you so much for giving me the chance to ask some questions, for taking time out of your
awesome questions, by the way. Those were some really good questions. I really like that.
Thank you so much. I didn't just want to be like, so tell us about stuff you can't tell us about.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, actually.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have like a wonderful rest of your BlizzCon. We've got community night.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means as somebody that's my first BlizzCon. So.
You're gonna have a great time. I hope you've explored everywhere, and get to see community night too. That's coming up soon.
I'm super excited for that.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you everybody, and enjoy the rest of watching all the BlizzCon content, and yeah.
And where can people find you? What's your Twitter?
So I am a very bad Twitter user. I'm not gonna lie, but you can find me at Bunny Klee or Bunny Kayleigh. So yeah, Klee. Bunny.
I want people to be able to, find you.
Yeah. So
maybe we'll see you on some more Campfire streams.
Yeah, I would love that. I don't know if Adam will have me on. I don't know. I picked on Brent a little bit, so we'll see.
Maybe you can start saying the names of chat users for Adam, since he can't seem to work that one out.
You know what? Some of them I would be terrified to try and pronounce as well.
I don't blame you. All right, you want to pose for a photo with me real quick?
I think I just scoot away at this point. I think it's
so.
what happens.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I wasn't also just trying to game at the same time.
No,
I just wanted to have a conversation.
I have so much respect for streamers who game and talk and read chat at the same time. I'm like, oh, that's like two things too many. For me to do.
That I've gotten used to, but the conversation
and interview part,
too? Okay. We got to cut one of these out.
That is more than fair. All right, well, lovely seeing and meeting you, and hope I'll see you again. Yeah, I really hope so. Have a great time, everyone.
All right.